Here we are again, another weekly knitting update. Now I'm a little bit late this week, I think. It's Thursday today, and usually I have the grandchildren on a Thursday, but as it's almost Christmas, their mum has finished work for the year, so they're at home with her today. Now, I don't know if you can hear from my voice, I had the most horrendous cough. Not COVID, I have tested. Still not been any fun though. So I don't think I've got as much knitting done as I have in my previous weeks. It definitely slowed me up a bit. Been going to bed early in the evenings and not doing any knitting, just going to sleep. So hopefully I can get through this video without having to stop to have a 5-minute coughing fit. So I left you last week with the front, I'm thinking hard here, there we go, the front left panel, yes, front left panel. I'll move you back a little, you can see all of it. That's better, you're a little bit further back and can see more of it. So this is my front left panel. I think I left you last week, we were about this stage, ready to start the reductions for the armhole. So I've done all my armhole reductions and finished this panel. Now I did run into a sudden panic. I got settled in doing the armhole reductions at the side, was used to how the pattern of knitting was working. Then went back and checked my pattern, I'm not sure why, and realised that this piece here, the button holding strip, was supposed to come to an end and just be held with a stitch marker. A stitch holder, I think this big one's a stitch holder, and these little tiny plasticky safety pin bits are stitch markers. So I had to unravel 4 or 5 rows, not too many thankfully, I hadn't worked my way right to the top, to put this buttonhole marker in position. Now I have no idea what's going to happen with the pattern. I'm assuming this has a kind of V-neck going on and the button section starts here. But I hadn't really registered that in the picture at the front of the pattern. I know it's got a big fold over collar and thought this just came up to there and it folded over to make the big collar. But apparently not. So I caught it just in the nick of time, put a stitch marker in, and at that point this side also starts reducing to a point at the end. We've only got 1 stitch left and tie it off. So having finished that one, very happy with it. I'm a bit, I don't know what happens here. Put it to one side and start the other side. Now the other side obviously has the buttonholes in it, which initially I wasn't too sure about. The buttonholes on the cardigan that I'm wearing go up and downwards on this front strip, whereas the buttonholes on the Aran cardigan I'm making go side to side on this ribbing strip. And I wasn't sure how I was going to knit those, never done them before. This only being the 3rd cardigan I have ever knitted, not surprising. But the pattern was lovely and clear. When I get to the point I want to put a buttonhole in, on the right side of my work, I knit 4 stitches as normal and then cast off 3 and then carry on following the pattern along my jumper. When I come back the other way and get to the buttonhole, I cast on 3 stitches. Now that threw me for a second or two, because in order to cast on, my work was the wrong way round. The pattern didn't tell me to turn anything over, it just said cast on 3 stitches. So it took me a minute or two to work out that if I actually flip it over, swap my needles round, I can cast on those 3 extra stitches, then turn it all back again and carry on knitting where I'd left off to the end of the row. It's really simple, a lot easier than the buttonholes going up and down were. So So I really like that buttonhole method. I shall adopt it wherever possible in the future because it works lovely now. I've got used to it. It was just that, how am I going to cast on 3 stitches? I'm facing the wrong way to do that. I'm probably about the same point on this front right panel that I was on the front left panel when I left you last week. So I have every expectation that this week I will definitely get this front panel finished. Then I'll have to study the pattern again and see where to take it from there. So I'm not sure what happens next. Probably knitting sleeves. At least I have half a sleeve to start with. I didn't want to carry on with the half sleeve I've already knitted. I didn't want to take it to the end because I wanted to make sure my reductions etc. will match up with the reduction on the side of my jumper. I don't know what makes me think it wouldn't. Sleeve length, that's what I wanted. I wanted to know where my armhole was going to be situated on against my body so I can decide how long I want my sleeve to be. So that's why I stopped the sleeve at the position I did. I might want to make it longer before it reaches the reducing part. Anyway, let's get this bit finished and then we'll go back to looking at that sleeve, or hopefully we could stitch these pieces together, maybe put the collar in before we do the sleeves. I don't know, I'll have to check my pattern. By next week we'll have had Christmas. Whether I'll get back to you before it's New Year, I don't know. It's the 22nd of December today, so I'm not going to be finished for Christmas, that's for sure. I'm thinking maybe the end of January if knitting carries on going quite nicely. I don't mind that I haven't finished. I was hopeful when I started I might be finished for Christmas, but as it's for me and not a gift for someone else, it doesn't matter that it's not finished. Anyway, I can hear my voice getting all croaky, so we'll have to leave it there for today, and I'll see you next week for an update, by which time we'll have had Christmas. It'll all be over and done with. We'll be full and fat and fed. I've eaten too much turkey and too many chocolates. So bye for now, and we'll catch up with you next week.